Hey everybody. For those of you who aren't familiar with this series, this is where I take a game that I'm currently playing and try to explain to you in 10 minutes or less why it's awesome. This time we're taking a look at Eximius, which is a very interesting hybrid FPS RTS. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Hey, wait a minute. There are a lot of games like this. In fact, I could pretty easily rattle off at least a half dozen other games which over the years have tried to mesh the RTS and FPS genres into a cohesive, functional, polished experience. But I think one of the things that really makes Eximius stand out as a game is the fact that of all of the sorts of games of this type that I've played over the years, I think it does the best job of actually realizing that concept and making good on it in a way that goes a bit beyond its predecessors. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this whole premise, a hybrid FPS RTS essentially tries to merge the two genres by having a single commander player guide the actions of a team of FPS ground level players. And Eximius is no exception in this regard, with teams consisting of a single commander and 4 officers. Where this game really goes above and beyond what's typical of this subgenre is in the details. Oftentimes games like this have a tendency to favor the FPS or RTS side of the house to the detriment of the other. But what we have here is a very fleshed out and carefully balanced experience split between the two traditional gaming genres, such that neither the commander playing in RTS mode or the officers playing in FPS mode is ever really shortchanged in the experience. Eximius also addresses head-on one of the biggest historical issues with these sorts of games by including a fully implemented bot system that allows players to practice and get up to speed with and familiar with the various mechanics of both the commander and officer roles, without having to necessarily be thrown to the wolves in a PvP scenario. In point of fact, of the 3 modes included with the game, 2 of them are PvE focused, with only one being an all-out PvP slugfest. Because of that, even players with little to no experience in either of the core genres or with any previous RTS-FPS hybrid will have plenty of opportunity to familiarize and acclimate themselves to what Eximius has to offer. And as alluded to before, there's quite a bit going on in this game beyond the core premise and the basic mechanics that one would expect. Each of the 2 factions included in the game has a variety of units, weapons, and 3 potential divisions that vary each of those to emphasize particular styles of play. Not to mention the battlesuit mechanic, which essentially allows the officer characters to call in one of 4 specialized sets of power armor that can greatly enhance their abilities and tactical options on the battlefield. It would really be impossible for me to adequately break down all of the various mechanics and systems and subsystems present in this game in a video of this sort, but it suffices to say that this isn't the sort of game that can be mastered or completely experienced on a whim. Even after spending over 10 hours with it, I feel as though I'm just starting to really completely wrap my head around the overall meta of the game, to say nothing of all the minutiae and details associated with each faction. Now, of course, like any other game, Eximius is not without its flaws or shortcomings. The AI, while completely serviceable and downright cunning in certain circumstances, can occasionally come up a bit short, even on the hardest difficulties. And the game is certainly not without its share of minor technical blemishes that would prevent me from calling it a completely polished experience. However, given that one major bug fix patch has already been released since the game's official launch, it seems entirely possible to me that a lot of those technical hurdles will get cleared at some point throughout the game's lifespan. Beyond that, I'd say that the game's $30 asking price might prove a bit steep for anyone with only a passing or casual interest in what it has to offer. However, based on my time with it thus far, I feel pretty confident in saying that people who are in the game's target audience will likely find it worth both their time and money in the long run. Some games justify their cost based on aesthetics and presentation. I would say that Eximius is a game that justifies its cost based on mechanics, depth, and an intense focus on catering toward its target audience. And to me, that makes it awesome. Having said all that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Hopefully you folks have enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you'd like to see more videos from me in the future, be sure to hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.
A victory point has been taken from us.